Hello, so welcome to my video. Please do subscribe if you aren't already. So today I want to continue talking about something I picked up a few weeks ago, which are my panoramic paintings that I'm doing on a board on MDF. And I have a series already of panoramic paintings that I developed for my Landscape Inside Out exhibition, and I'm adding now these three works, and maybe I will even add more, but for now I'm having these three works which are all about the seasons change in a way, because for me that this sort of time and from late summer into autumn is a really interesting and rich time. And I have been developing studies out on the landscape, and so now I have these three panels. And so I started with one, not this one. I started with just one that had been a remnant from before that I sort of had brought forward, and I've added two to it. And now I'm just going to share with you a quick review of the three, and then maybe we'll do some work on them so that you can see how I'm involving them. So just to start with this one was one that I added. I had a sort of put collage down the last time you were seeing these, and I was just at the very early stage. So underneath this layer, and this has got now a few layers on it over the collage, and so I'm now thinking, how do I move this one forward? This one that has things about it as usual that I like, things about it that I really don't like, and at this stage though, it's important that you just keep it free and loose, and that you don't get too thinky too soon. So in terms of, if I just do a quick whistle stop, what I like, what I don't like, I really quite like the sort of the muted, flatter tones of this. I think when the light is flat, it really has that sort of feel. There's a richness, a sort of an earthiness to it. So I really quite like those rich purpley, muted, mauvey, goldy, sagey colours. I don't like the fact that this all kind of tends to merge into it, and there's a lack of clarity. So I don't like that about it. I like the big brush strokes and some of the marks I've been scratching in, and I've added other mixed media, so pencil, and the lines of the pattern of the collage. But I think it's on the other hand, I think it's got a little bit too gloopy. And I also think there needs to be a little bit more balance in the actual overall. There seems to be a lot here, and it's in terms of tonal balance, there probably needs to be a little bit more tonal balance, a little bit more over here to balance the darks there, not necessarily huge amounts. And the other thing that's really bugging me is this line here, which seems to be cutting the painting in two a little bit. And I think this needs to be softer and more part of the scene rather than being this sort of big statement. It's the thing that my eye is drawn to, because this is light and then I've got the dark collage behind. So whether or not I just soften that all up, I don't know. I quite like the kind of messiness to a point. So at this stage, it really is trying to make sure that you don't kind of tidy it all up, because that's really not what I'm after here. So anyway, so this is the first one, and I'm going to swap now so that you can see the next one. Okay, so here is the second one, and these two I'm showing you first are actually the ones that I had to bring on to accompany the one that was already started. And so this one has got less, has had the collage on, but only just some paint, and that's it, one layer. Whereas the one I've just showed you has got a couple of layers on, 2 or 3. And so you see a lot more of the collage still through. I quite like the collage on this one, is quite strong. So I might well keep with certainly the pink and the purple versus the liminess. I quite like that rather unusual colour combination. So that's something that's working. And I also think it's working tonally, because I've got that's quite dark, This is quite dark. I'm not sure what I think of this yet. The jury's still out on whether I like it or not. I like some of the thick paint marks going on. I'm a little bit skeptical about this. It's too dominant in the middle. It's a bit of a bullseye. So that's going to have to get sorted. These black lines I'm not sure about. So they may have to disappear and be established in another guise, because I like them, but there's something not quite right about it. Too much focus on the middle, I think is probably what these things are causing an issue for me with respect to that they are all sort of congregating in the middle, and I'm just kind of looking in this way. So that's something to sort out. I think it's all got a bit too thick and gloopy in some respects. So I want to have some thinner and maybe more transparent layers going on. The things I like about it is I quite like the drama of the choppiness of the shapes. I quite like the kind of the mutedness over here, but it's also still, as well as it being muted, it's still quite rich. There's something about that which I want to keep, not necessarily in that way, but it's very reminiscent of what's happening in the landscape with the rosebay willow herb. It's always for me, as the seasons go, the pinks change and evolve into something. So for me, this is of its time, this autumn time, and I don't know yet how I want to have that in there and whether I do, but I'm quite liking some of it at least. So yeah, so this one is early doors. I'm quite liking it. Needs more, I think it needs some more variety of marks. I need smaller marks against the bigger marks I've got here. I've got these big massive brush strokes. I've used a huge brush and got all this choppiness going on, but I don't see the finer delicate lines, and I won't necessarily at this stage. It's an early stage, so I need to be, it's a bit like I was saying before, I need to be a bit mindful of not getting too thinky too early on. Just trying to keep working with it. If it's got something of that, can I put something different in, and keep it loose rather than too thinky. So yeah, so that's the second one, and I will just for the sake of keeping so that you see the whole group, I will get the third one, which is the one that I originally started with. Okay, so here is the one I started with that you will have seen on the video before, and I haven't done an awful lot more to this one as yet. What I have done is done some more scratching in and some more of the finer marks, and I've yet to decide. There's something about this that I really is talking to me, I think, around the richness and the goldness. I've yet to decide how I want to move this on. So it's sort of, I'm liking the variety of the big marks. So I quite like this big swoop. I like the finer delicate marks. So that's kind of working for me. But it's just overall, what does it need? And it could be that I just put some gloss medium on so I don't lose what I've got here. But then I just kind of work at it and see what happens and just kick it into touch a little bit, and that might well be where I go with this one. Okay, so that's my overall review, and I'm just going to dip in and do some work so that you see where I'm going with them. So this is my palette and my paintbrush variety as usual, so I'm mixing up purples and yellows and golds, as is my palette for this group of paintings. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing warm-ups. Warm-ups are really, really important. Can't overestimate how important they are. And these are just literally a couple of minute little paintings using mixed paint that I'm going to be using in the paintings, and using marks and lines, and really just keeping it loose and free. Okay, so this is one of them that I just thought I'd share with you a little bit of how I'm going about it. So I am working through the centre part to start with, and then some on the left hand side. And what I'm doing is I'm getting rid of what there were those dominant straight lines across the centre point that I was talking about in the review. And now what I'm doing is I'm trying to balance a little bit by actually adding some of the purple and connecting both sides together, because otherwise you just end up having a disjointed piece. So the light paint going into the centre and the yellow swooshes, that's really helped to take away the dominance from the centre. But now I need to make sure that I'm connecting the sides together somehow. And I'm rubbing through, I often rub through the paint to reveal the collage, and that's what I'm doing there, sort of trying to different things to see those stripes coming through. And I use spray water quite a lot to get the drips and the lines and marks, so that I get enough variety of paint thickness as well. So, and I'm revealing through some of that green stripe. Okay, so here are the 3 paint pieces that still have a long way to go and probably a lot simplifying, but these are as they are now. So if I start with the top one, and I'll just go into to see it. After putting the gloss medium on, that I told you I was going to do to seal things in, I have only really done a small amount of work on this one, and I may well simplify quite a bit further, but it's simpler and slightly different to how it was, and I've narrowed things and made things more different to each other and that sort of thing. So, but keeping with the overall tone, which I kind of like. And then with this one, long way to go, maybe a little bit messy on the left hand side. Not that I mind mess, it's just whether or not there's a clarity to it and whether there needs to be more clarity. So I'm quite liking the shapes now. I like the fact that I've got rid of that strong line that was there before in the sort of centre bottom part, and I'm quite liking the bottom sort of swoop. Some of the white, I don't know whether it's too white, but I'm quite liking the strong contrasts. So we'll see. I'm still sort of pondering on this one. And then this one, I've just I've put several layers onto this one. I've simplified it. The last thing I've done is put paper onto it because I wanted to reinstate some of those lines that originally are fence posts going in different directions, because I wanted to get more of the lyric of the landscape going on in this one than I already had. It was looking too straight. So I've just put those on just as a way of, sort of moving things on really, and giving things a bit of a stir up. And now it will need simplifying, because obviously it's made it quite busy putting that paper on, those pattern paper of the lines. And I've tried to sort of connect more one side with the other, which I'm thinking is starting to work. And I've done that with some of the purpley pink paper. And yeah, we'll see how it goes once I start laying into it again. And so anyway, this is, there's still plenty of work to do. I think I'm moving them on. We'll see where they end up, but at least by, sort of keeping it sort of fairly light and playful and sort of scraping into it, doing things to it, shaking it up a bit, that, gives me a sort of a moving in a direction. And I think now each of them do have a different and slightly different angle and identity, which takes a while to establish. And only then for me do the names come. Anyway, I hope that was helpful. Please do like and subscribe. As I mentioned at the beginning, I have a Harrogate Art Fair coming up in October the 14th to the 16th. Now, in the show notes or this video notes, I will put a link to my newsletter, because if you're not subscribed to that, by subscribing, I don't inundate you, but I do send out newsletters, and I will give you the information and share more detail and tickets, etc. for Harrogate. So please do subscribe to my newsletter if you're not already. Okay, thanks a lot, and speak to you next time. Bye bye.